Welcome back. In the previous video, we learned the fundamentals of chess, from how each piece moves to the rules of check, checkmate, and stalemate. If you haven't watched that lesson yet, I highly recommend starting there first, because everything we'll cover in this series builds on those basics. I'll leave a link to it in the description and on your screen now. Before we begin, you first need to understand that everything in life has a phase, just like how chess has 3 of them. The opening, where both players start the game. The middle game, where most of the game actually takes place, here is where strategy and tactics come into play. And finally, the end game, where the game concludes. We won't discuss the middle game and the end game until later in the series when we finish talking about the opening. Since the opening stage is so vast, teaching you complex opening theory won't help you at your level. It's best we start with the opening principles which make up the components of most common openings you hear people talk about. Once you learn these principles, you'll be able to find the most suitable opening of your choice since you'll have the basics of all of them at your fingertips. Now, it's time to finally answer the question every beginner always asks. I know how to move the pieces, but what should be my first move when I start the game? The answer to that is follow the opening principles. It would be helpful to take notes from this point. I've split these opening principles into a 5-part series, and in this video we're covering what is arguably the most important one of them all, controlling the center. So, what is this center that everyone is talking about? The center is made up of the 4 squares in the middle of the chessboard, e4, d4, e5, d5. These are the most important squares because pieces that control them have more space, greater mobility, and can quickly reach either side of the board. There are 2 main ways to control these central squares. 1. With your pawns. 2. With your pieces. The easiest and by far the most common way people control the center is by the use of pawns. There are only 4 pawns that control the center for white, and for black, we'll mainly focus on the white side. Let's start with the e-pawn. Playing 1 e4 is one of the most popular opening moves in chess. If you want to enjoy tactical battles, fast development, and attacking opportunities, then 1 e4 is often an excellent choice. It controls 2 of the central squares, e4, the square it is on, and d5, the square it attacks if an enemy piece lands on it, or defends if one of your pieces lands on it. That's basically what control means in chess, attacking or defending a square, and in this case, the center. Playing this pawn move, not only controls the center but also opens up the queen and the light-squared bishop, which are usually blocked. Remember that only the knight can freely jump over pieces, while the other pieces at the back cannot. It also gains space by creating a sort of rectangular veil for white's pieces to move freely behind it. We'll talk about space advantage and how pawns impact that in a later video in the series. The same applies to all the other pawn moves, d4, c4, and f4. Next, let's look at the d-pawn. 1 d4 is the second most popular starting move in chess. Compared to 1 e4, 1 d4 often results in more closed positions, where games tend to reward patience, long-term planning, and positional understanding. It controls 2 of the central squares, d4, the square it is on, and e5. Playing this pawn also opens up the queen and the dark-squared bishop. Now, let's look at the c-pawn. 1 c4 isn't as popular as the first 2 moves mentioned earlier, but it's a move worth looking at. It controls only one of the central squares, d5, which might be why it's not as common as 1 e4 or 1 d4. Playing this pawn move only opens up for the queen. Lastly, let's look at the f-pawn. 1 f4 is a move I would discourage you from beginning with, since it controls the center, but the drawback is that it threatens your king's safety right from the beginning, and you can easily lose games as early as the first 10 to 15 moves if you're not careful. Now we move on to controlling the center with pieces. We first start with the knights since they're the only pieces that can jump over others, which means your first move can also be a knight move. Let's begin with 1 nf3. Most people go for this when they want to keep their options open, since pawns cannot go backward, and committing to a pawn move may give away your game plans too early. This is the move you play when you don't want to show off your cards. Just like 1d4, one knight f3 controls two central squares, d4 and e5. This brings a new term I want to teach you guys called transposition, which means that a certain position can be reached via a different move order, and since 1d4 and one knight f3 have a common relationship, the move transposes into 1d4 positions. Don't think too much about it, it'll all make sense through practice and experience. As for one knight c3, although it's not that common, it controls similar squares to 1e4 and can sometimes transpose to 1e4 openings. Before we wrap up, here's a little bonus for everyone who's made it this far into the video. One of the most common mistakes beginners make is avoiding 1e4 or 1d4 and playing moves like 1h4 or 1a4, because they're worried those moves expose the king. At first glance, it might seem like pushing the pawn in front of your king is dangerous, but in reality, it's one of the safest and strongest ways to begin a game. The reason is simple. Those moves don't just fight for the center. They also open lines for your bishop and queen, allowing you to develop your pieces quickly and castle to safety. These are some of the remaining opening principles we have to cover, but by now you should have fully understood the importance and how to control the center. That's it for this video, and make sure to put what you learned today into practice in your own games. In the next video, we'll cover the second opening principle, developing your pieces efficiently. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.